Of Inter Miami Soccer on ESPN 106.3. The pink smoke is in the air. That means legendary goals.
Oh, it's a cannon shot! Go ahead and give him the goal of the week!
Heroic saves.
Outstanding point-blank save. You are denied.
Inter Miami Soccer is on ESPN 106.3. This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
It is game day today. Our Inter Miami Herons back in South Florida and about to be hosting the Seattle Sounders. It is going to be a rematch of the League's Cup final about 2.5 weeks ago. Welcome on in, folks, to Pink Smoke, where we talk everything Inter Miami and everything world football. We'll do a little Messi Mania presented by our great friends at PNC. We'll do the injury report presented by Lytle Ryder Smith, Ivy, and Fraunrath, and we will head around the MLS later on in the show. We have the pregame for Inter Miami starting up at 7 o'clock tonight. Ken LaVicka back on the call for the Inter Miami Herons. Voice of the Herons, Ken LaVicka, back on the call coming up tonight. But it is about that time to get you caught up on what's been going on with Inter Miami, and specifically what's been going on with one of the greatest of all time, Lionel Messi. Let's do a little Messi Mania presented by our great friends over at PNC Bank.
It's time for a little Messi Mania on Pink Smoke, presented by PNC Bank. The latest match results, highlights, and everything Messi starts now. Brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Learn more at PNC.com. PNC Bank, National Association member FDIC.
Putting one behind the keeper takes more than talent. Sure, the pros make it look easy, but there's a whole lot of boring work behind it. Hours of drills, scrimmages, and dedication to the craft that ultimately pay off in a brilliant goal-scoring move. PNC Bank knows that it's the same with money. That's why they take a smart, steady, and, boring approach. So you can make brilliant money moves that help you score your own goals. And PNC Bank makes it easy and convenient to manage your money when and where it works for you, including with new branch locations opening across Miami. See how keeping your money boring can be the brilliant move for you. Visit pnc.com/brilliantly boring. PNC Bank, proud banking sponsor of Inter Miami CF radio broadcasts and Brilliantly Boring since 1865. The PNC Financial Services Group, Inc., all rights reserved, member FDIC. Well, I wish I had better news for our Inter Miami Herons. They are losers of their last two fixtures. They lost this past Saturday to Charlotte 3-0. And Lionel Messi in the game had a chance for a penalty kick goal to make things 1-0 from the spot. And in an unbelievable sequence of events, Lionel Messi, who is usually automatic from the penalty spot, he got his penalty saved. And a minute and a half later, not even kidding on that, a minute and a half later in the 34th minute, Edon Tokolamadi had his ninth goal in 12, or rather his eighth goal in 12 games. And they never looked back because Tokolamadi ended up with a hat trick in the game for Charlotte. He scored later on, early on in the second half in the 47th minute. And then in the 85th minute on a penalty kick, which was awarded to Charlotte when the always dangerous Wilfried Zaha, the former Centurion and star for Crystal Palace in the Premier League, Wilfried Zaha drew a penalty. Sergio Busquets was late on the tackle. Zaha draws a penalty, and Tokolamadi bagged the goal into the back of the net. So Tokolamadi with a hat trick, Messi with the missed penalty, and even worse news, Toto Aviles, a defender for Inter Miami, got sent off for the second time in the MLS this season. Toto Aviles, let's rewind back to match week 1 when Inter Miami faced off against NYC FC. He picked up a red card after scoring a goal in that. So Aviles scored a goal early on in the game, and then later on, about the 25th minute, picked up a red card. Inter Miami had to play from behind in that game. Fortunately enough, Aviles picked up the red card in the 79th minute in this game. But it ultimately didn't matter because they were already down 2-0. Busquets would pick up the penalty. It'd be a spot kick for Tokolamati, and Inter Miami would lose 3-0. Now, not to doomsday too much, because I actually am confident Inter Miami can turn things around coming up tonight versus the Sounders, and we're going to talk about that in a second because that's a rematch of Leagues Cup. But in the last two fixtures Inter Miami's played, they have been outscored 6-0. Inter Miami has not scored in 2 games, and they haven't scored a goal since August 27th. It's almost been a full month since Inter Miami has scored a goal in any competition. The last goal they scored was August 27th against Orlando City, where they won the fixture at home 3-1. Lionel Messi had a brace in the game. He had a penalty spot goal and a quote unquote regular goal. But that really was a high point for Inter Miami on the season, because Inter Miami lost to Orlando the 2 times they played them in the regular season, and then they faced off against them in Leagues Cup action, and they were able to win 3-1. But believe it or not, the last time Inter Miami found the back of the net was all the way back on August 27th. Inter Miami went with a 4-4-2 against Charlotte, and it was a matchup against Charlotte where a lot of players weren't available. Because you had Luis Suarez, who was suspended. Obviously, Suarez, remember, got caught spitting on that staffer for said Seattle. Now, I think it's actually a good thing that Suarez is not playing in this game against Seattle tonight, with probably tension still being high after that all-out fight that happened after Leagues Cup, where Maxi Falcone had a man in a stranglehold. Sergio Busquets was seen throwing fists. I mean, it truly was an ugly scene for Inter Miami and Seattle Sounders. But Luis Suarez, getting suspended for 3 MLS games after he got caught spitting on that Seattle staffer. So you didn't have Suarez in that matchup. You didn't have Alan Abando. Alan Abando is the backup striker, so you were without your 2 strikers in the game, versus Charlotte, who was on an 8-game win streak. It was, everything's clicking for Charlotte. They're the hottest team on this side of the hemisphere. You didn't have Baltasar Rodriguez, who popped up on the injury sheet during pregame rather. Rodriguez was able to play in the fixtures beforehand against Seattle, against DC United, and even against Orlando. But Baltasar Rodriguez, who was probably inked in to start with the injuries that I'm going to continue to go through, but Rodriguez was the surprise to be on that injury report. Now, Davi Ruiz got hurt playing for Honduras. That's his nationality club. That's his nationality. That's his international team. He got hurt on international duty. And believe it or not, Fafa Pico suffered a hip injury for Haiti as well. So you had 2 guys get hurt on international break before the game, when Davi Ruiz and Fafa Pico, and then Baltasar Rodriguez, that surprise injury that came up on the report. Alan Abando, who's been injured sadly all season long, and then Luis Suarez being suspended. That is 5 players that Inter Miami was without. And dare I say, Fafa Pico, Baltasar Rodriguez, and Luis Suarez, 3 out of the 5 are players that you see game in and game out when healthy for Inter Miami. And certainly Alan Abando would have gotten the start. He's the backup striker. Luis Suarez, the striker, not available. He would have stepped in and started. And with all due respect to Davi Ruiz, we haven't seen much of him this season. But when you're this injured, I mean, you want as much depth as you could possibly get. And Inter Miami just did not have that against Charlotte. And truly, the game was lost when Messi missed the penalty. As sad as that is, Messi missed the penalty. Rather, he got the penalty saved. He tried for a cheeky chip shot, top left corner, but Kalina, the goalkeeper for Charlotte, guessed it. And, our OG onsite producer, Oscar Gonzalez, was telling me at halftime, and, I'm on the pregame, halftime, and postgame for Inter Miami. I watch all the games. I listen to all the games. I know what's going on. But, Messi has been doing those chip shots, and I don't want to say trick shots is the wrong word, but cheeky is the great word. The cheeky chip shots that you don't think are coming. Oh, mate, that was cheeky. It's English slang, but Messi went for the cheeky chip, and Kahlina called him out on it. And fair play to Kahlina, because it seems like he did his research. It seems like he did his homework, because he knew exactly where Messi was going. While that ball was in the air, Kahlina guessed right, and he knew that it was going to be a chip shot. So give him some credit there. But Lionel Messi missing from the penalty spot, I truly think, is where the game was lost. Now, Idon Tokolamadi for Charlotte truly has been a wonder to behold for Charlotte FC this season. Now, they call Charlotte the Crown. Charlotte, a team who is on a 9-game win streak. Charlotte tied the Seattle Sounders for the longest win streak in MLS history. Now, at least modern history, they're calling it the modern history. In 1997, 1998, the LA Galaxy won 15 games in a row. So, that's the longest streak in MLS history. But in modern history, it's Seattle. And now Charlotte FC has a chance to make some history as well. And certainly with Idon Tokolamadi having 10 goals in his last 12 games, that kid is hotter than a stove. That kid's hotter than a stove with mom's spaghetti on it. So I think with Charlotte, it was just a buzzsaw that Inter Miami ran into. Inter Miami had a chance to take momentum with the Messi PK later on in the game. Tadeo Allende was one-on-one with the keeper. Kahlina had a great save. And listen, Kahlina had a 9-2 MR in the game. Now, MR stands for match rating, and it comes from a website that I am probably on more than any website that there is. It's called FotMob. If you're a football fan, it's the best website to be on. But there's a thing called match rating, and it basically gives out grades for players. And Kahlina had a 9.2. That's unheard of for goalkeepers. A 9.2 is unheard of for goalkeepers. And the 33-year-old veteran Croatian saved Lionel Messi's penalty. He was up for the task on Tadeo Allende's one-on-one shot. And Allende, I think, he's really been on the wrong end of the stick on a couple of those chances. When it specifically comes with Tadeo Allende, he's great at getting into space and getting open. The problem is end product. The problem is finishing. Allende has had a real problem since the FIFA Club World Cup with putting the ball in the net. And when you're playing left wing, when you're playing striker, when you're getting asked to play out of position to play striker, like how Allende has been asked with Luis Suarez and Alan Abando being out, a lot of it comes down to confidence, if I'm being honest. A lot of it comes down to confidence, and I do not see the confidence there with the young player in Tadeo Allende, but he's going to have to figure it out quick because Inter Miami is without a lot of players. Pico is still going to be out. Alan Abando is most likely still going to be out tonight. We're going to get the injury report here in just a second. And Luis Suarez is still suspended for 2 games in MLS play. And the MLS is the only competition you have left, mate. The League's Cup is over. The CONCACAF Champions Cup is over. The FIFA Club World Cup is over. The only thing left is MLS competition and the MLS Cup that's going to be coming up. And right now, it looks like Inter Miami is going to be a team in the Eastern Conference that's probably going to be a 4th or 5th ranked team in the Eastern Conference. The top 4 teams in the East get home field in the first round. The first overall seed gets a bye. And in the first round, it's best 2 out of, you play 2 games, a home and an away. So Inter Miami, if they are in that first round and they don't get that first round bye, like they did last year after winning the Supporters Shield, they are going to have to play in the first round. So it's the important thing for Inter Miami right now. Get healthy. Make sure you got your full stride heading into the MLS playoffs and try to win as many games as possible. And coming up later on in the program, we are going to break down that Seattle game. We are going to break down what I think the lineup is going to look like, what Inter Miami is going to have to do to get a result against a pretty good side in the Seattle Sounders. But certainly Inter Miami right now, a team who's sitting at 46 points on the table. They are 8th in the Eastern Conference. The 9th-ranked team in the Eastern Conference are the Chicago Fire. The New York Red Bulls and the Fire are the 2 teams that are currently battling for that 9th position. But Inter Miami needs to play 4 more games to catch up to Nashville, Charlotte, Cincinnati, and the Union. Philadelphia Union, FC Charlotte, FC Cincinnati, and Nashville SC. They have all played 30 games. Inter Miami has played 26. Now, let's get it out of our heads that Inter Miami is going to win every single game that they have to make up. In my opinion, it's not realistic. Can they do it? Listen, they have the most talent in the league. I don't care what anybody says. Fair play to Charlotte. Inter Miami's more talented than them, and I think they're the better team. Fair play to these other teams that play in the MLS, but Inter Miami's the best team. Are they wildly inconsistent? Yes. Are they an older team that might get outpaced in long games, long dragged out games like you saw against Charlotte? Yes. But when push comes to shove, I'd take Inter Miami over any team within the MLS. And I do have some power rankings that we'll go through later on in the show too. But Inter Miami right now is sitting at 46 points, 26 games played. They are in 8th place. NYCFC has played 28 games. They are in 7th. So let's actually just round out the top 9 quickly. The Philadelphia Union, number 1, with 57 points, 30 games played. FC Cincinnati, number 2, 55 points, 30 games played. Charlotte, number 3, 30 games played, 53 points. They've won 9 games in a row. If Charlotte wins their next matchup against NYCFC coming up September 20th, they will have the MLS record in the modern era. Nashville in 4th. They've played 30 games. They have 50 points. And then after that, Columbus, Orlando, NYCFC, Inter Miami, and Chicago. But the top 4 who are going to get home field in the playoffs as of right now, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Charlotte, and Nashville. And keep in mind, Philadelphia, the number 1 team by 2 points right now over FC Cincinnati. By the way, who just got smoked like a cigarette 7-0 by Vancouver. Really embarrassing loss. I mean, how embarrassing can it get? 7-0. I mean, that's a bad loss. But they are still in first place with that 57 points. They've played 30 games, and they right now would have that home field advantage on the Eastern Conference side. I mentioned Inter Miami has the Seattle Sounders coming up tonight. We're going to break that one down later on in the program. But Inter Miami's schedule after Seattle, they got 9 games left in the MLS. Inter Miami has 9 games left. Seattle, all right. So at home against Seattle, at home against DC United, on the road against NYCFC. And then I'll let you know. So Seattle, Inter Miami hasn't played yet. And this is going to be the only time they play them this year. They're a Western Conference team. You play the Eastern Conference teams twice. Inter Miami, after Seattle, faces off against DC United. They drew DC United 1-1. Very disappointing draw. Javier Mascherano decided not to start I'm going to say, he didn't start a strong lineup. The lineup stunk. And he tried to bring on all the cavalry at halftime, and they couldn't get a result. And when I say they couldn't get a result, they couldn't get 3 points. They technically got a result getting a draw on the road, but you could hardly call that a result when it's the worst team in the league, mate. I mean, DC United is terrible. Getting 1 point against DC United is not something you want to pat yourself on the back about. So let's hope Inter Miami coming up this Saturday at 7:30. Let's hope they're going to be able to get a big win against DC. Then they go on the road, NYCFC. Let's rewind back to week 1 of the MLS season. It's the same game where Toto Aviles picked up his first red card of the season. But Inter Miami drew NYCFC. They're looking to get a win on September the 24th. Inter Miami after that on the 27th. And remember, let's keep in mind that Inter Miami will be playing 2 games a week to catch up on the games I was talking about. You know, Inter Miami right now is 4 games behind most of the teams that are in the top 4. So not only are some of these matchups going to be on the tougher side against pretty good teams, they're going to be playing 2 days a week. And I already mentioned that Inter Miami is an older team. It's an older roster. So I'm hoping that they're able to get healthy and get right, because they're going to need the legs, quite honest. They're going to need the legs. But they beat Toronto early on in the year at home in Fort Lauderdale. They travel to Toronto on the 27th. Fast forward to the 23rd, Inter Miami will be hosting Chicago. The Chicago Fire are the last team right now on that Eastern Conference that are in the playoffs. They're fighting neck and neck with the New York Red Bulls, but Inter Miami looking to get revenge and 3 points against Chicago, who they drew all those months ago in Chicago with. Now, the New England Revolution, Inter Miami was able to beat New England in the first fixture. They will be hosting New England. A lot of these are home games, too, as you're finding out. Atlanta United's been one of the more disappointing teams within the MLS. Inter Miami will be hosting Atlanta United coming up on October 11th. And that leads us into the last game of the season. Nashville SC, the team that is currently fourth on that Eastern Conference table. Inter Miami is going to have to go on the road. And Inter Miami picked up all 3 points early on in the year against Nashville. But I wonder how much I wonder the implications. How about that? I wonder what the implications are going to be in that game against Nashville for Inter Miami. Is it going to be for Inter Miami, to get a fourth place spot? Could Inter Miami play their cards right and be competing for a Supporters Shield? And remember, folks, for those of you that aren't well-versed in trophies and competitions, the Supporters Shield it goes to the team that has the most points in the MLS all season long. And Inter Miami obviously was able to get the Supporters Shield last year, winning 73 points on the MLS table, which was the most in Major League Soccer history. I don't think, and my best guess is, and this isn't me being a Debbie Downer, but my best guess is with the form that Inter Miami is in right now and the injuries that they have suffered so far towards the end of the year, I don't think they're going to be able to win the Supporters Shield. Right now, what I think Inter Miami's timeline and expectations look like, the updated timeline and updated expectations, just get top four. Just get top four in that Eastern Conference, get home field, and take advantage of being at home in that first round, and then play your cards right after that. Let the rest take care of itself. Because I think the teams to look out for in the Eastern Conference, in the Eastern Conference are all those teams, and it's no pun intended would be the wrong word, would be the wrong saying, but like the teams you don't want to run into right now are Cincinnati, Charlotte, and Philadelphia. I like Inter Miami's chances against Nashville, against Columbus, against NYCFC, and against Chicago. But Cincinnati, Charlotte, and Philadelphia, I feel like those are the 3 best teams in the Eastern Conference outside of Inter Miami. And finally, the last team I don't want to see that is currently in the MLS playoffs right now are the Orlando City. Orlando City beat Inter Miami twice this season. Now, I know Inter Miami beat them in Leagues Cup and was able to get, quote, the last laugh. But I reminded Inter Miami fans, it might not be the last laugh. You could see that Orlando team in the MLS playoffs if you don't play your cards right, if you don't win the games that you have at hand. So that's what I would, if I were Coach Mascherano in charge of the Inter Miami Herons, I'd be worried about getting top 4, winning as many games as possible, and getting as healthy as possible. And now obviously getting Luis Suarez back. As much as, I feel like Inter Miami faithful and some people might be frustrated with Luis after he spit on a staffer. And, a lot of people go, oh, it's on par for his image and whatever. I understand you want to represent your club as best as you can. You don't want to disgrace the badge. You need Suarez. I'm gonna keep it a buck. You need Luis Suarez. You're going to need him, a man who won the Golden Boot last year in the MLS. You're going to need every ounce of his and listen, I know I'll say it, leadership. I think Luis is a leader for Inter Miami. I think when he's not acting like a bonehead, he is a leader. I think when Luis Suarez is at his best for Inter Miami, he is a leader of the team. And I think Coach Mascherano and Lionel Messi, I think those are the 2 guys that are going to have to sit down Luis and go, listen, brother, we need you. We can't have you doing stuff like that. We can't have you missing games late in the season. We're going to need you when push comes to shove and things are hard and things are tough. We'd rather have you on our side scoring goals and playing well than not. We need you. How about that? We need you. We're going to need you for the playoff run. Make sure you're ready to roll. He's going to miss the Seattle game. He's going to miss the DC United game. And then he's going to miss one more after that. I'm pulling up the Inter Miami schedule. I apologize. I did not remember that third one off the top of my head. NYCFC. Or actually, rather, he'll be back against NYCFC. I apologize. The Charlotte game was his first suspended game. Seattle tonight will be his second. DC United will be his third. Luis Suarez will be back coming up against the NYCFC on September the 24th. You also hope that Alan Abando, the backup striker to Luis Suarez, can get right and get healthy. Alan Abando, a player who, and if you listen to the program, you know all about Alan Abando, as I've told you 100 times. But Abando has a lot of talent. Obando came from Barcelona in the Ecuadorian League, not the Barcelona in La Liga. Very confusing, I know, but not the Barcelona in La Liga. He came on over from loan from the Barcelona in Ecuador, and then it came out later on that Atletico Madrid actually bought his rights as a player from the Ecuadorian side Barcelona. So Atletico Madrid is a top-flight Spanish team in La Liga. The three best teams in La Liga year in and year out, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Those are the two best teams. But after that, Atletico Madrid is usually comfortably in that third spot. And in years past, about a decade ago, granted, 4 or 5 years ago, they've won La Liga. Like, they are the most, I would say Atletico Madrid is the most successful La Liga team that is not named Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's actually where Rodrigo de Paul came from as well. You know, Rodrigo de Paul was playing for Atletico Madrid. De Paul played in the FIFA Club World Cup for Atletico Madrid. So we know the caliber of team that Atletico Madrid is. And the fact that Alan Obando is 18 years old and they have, him under wraps on contract, that means that tells you there's all the talent in the world. He just needs to get on the field and really showcase it. The biggest problem for that young man is his unavailability to get on the field. And it stinks right now because you got your two strikers that are on the team not available. Now, Inter Miami did sign David Pinter from the Inter Miami CF2. It's the MLS Next team, the Inter Miami CF2, part of the MLS Next League. And David Pinter, a young man who plays striker, had to get the call up basically from the minor leagues. You know, for my baseball fans out there, the easiest way I could describe this, it's like the G League in the NBA and the minor leagues in baseball. He got the call up to the number one squad. He actually did get in against Charlotte. He was a late substitution against Charlotte when the game got to 2-0, when Coach Mascherano wanted to go for a more agile and attacking form. You know, when you go down 2-0, you want to throw everything in the kitchen sink at the game and throw your attackers in the game. And when you're without Obando and you're without Suarez, your top two strikers, you're going to have to start who you got. And who they had was David Pinter. I think it's a name certainly that's going to be that you're going to want to remember as an Inter Miami fan, but I wouldn't expect much because, I mean, guys, it's hard. I mean, it's like football in general, world football in general. It's so hard to like go from one competition and level to the next. Like I don't want to say it's easier to go from the G League to the real thing in the NBA because it's hard. And I'm not saying it's easy to go AAA to the major leagues in MLB because that's hard as well, or college or the pros. You know, there's a gap. I just feel like sometimes the gap in world football, and that's what I call soccer, folks, world football. I think it's magnified even more. Folks, let's take our first time out of the show. That was Messi Mania, presented by our good friends at PNC. It's been a bad couple of games for Inter Miami. They're 0-2 in their last two fixtures. They've, on the aggregate to teams, they have gotten outscored 6-0 in two games. And then the third game, the third most recent game was DC United, where they drew 1-1 in a very disappointing result because DC United is an absolute disgrace on that Eastern Conference this year. When we return, we'll go through that injury report. We'll check out the injury report presented by our great friends at Lytle Rider, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. But thank you to our great friends at PNC and sponsoring our Messi Mania segment where we go through everything Inter Miami and everything Lionel Messi. And I hope Lionel Messi could get back on track after missing a PK. The great Lionel Messi missed a PK against Charlotte. And let's hope he could get back on track in South Florida coming up tonight as they will be hosting the Seattle Sounders. This is Pink Smoke. More when we return on ESPN 106.3.
It's a Twin Peaks Tuesday. Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge for eats, drinks, and scenic views. This is ESPN 106.3.
Get ready, South Florida. It's the 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at FAU's Flagler Credit Union Stadium. Two of the best group of five teams go head-to-head in the ultimate holiday showdown. Over 150 players have gone from this field to the NFL. Who's next? Visit BocaRatonBowl.com for the latest, including when tickets will go on sale. The 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at Flagler Credit Union Stadium.
A resort destination beyond compare, yet conveniently close to home. The Breakers Palm Beach offers everything you desire with the service you deserve in a breathtaking oceanfront setting. Immerse yourself in unparalleled seaside glamour and enjoy all the Breakers has to offer as you create lasting memories with those who matter most. The best part, you don't have to travel far to feel worlds away. Visit thebreakers.com or call 1-800-BREAKERS today.
Welcome into the Kaiser Sports Update. I'm Kate Chumsland. Well, we'll have to wait a few more weeks for the number 2 Seahawks football team to finish a game in West Palm Beach. The battle against Bethel University last Saturday resulted in a forfeit after the rain forced the Wildcats to leave early. Kaiser will be on the road at Cumberland's on Saturday, September 20th, before having their bye week at the end of the month. This week marks the first events for the Kaiser golf teams, both competing in the Seahawk Shootout at the PGA National Fazio course. Just a few months ago, we saw both squads at the NAIA National Championships. Headed into this season, the women are ranked number 1 in the country, and the men, not too far behind, ranked 3rd. Volleyball and soccer are all in action throughout the week, with a top 10 battle for women's soccer against SCAD Savannah headlining the weekend on Sunday. For times and tickets on all of Kaiser University's athletic events, head to kuseahawks.com.
In sports and in life, how you move matters. So when injuries or pain get in the way, the orthopedic specialists at HSS Florida provide world-class care to get you moving again. From non-surgical and surgical care to personalized rehabilitation, HSS Florida offers the same quality and expertise you expect from HSS, the world's number 1 in orthopedic care. With 2 convenient locations in West Palm Beach and Wellington. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida. Choose better, move better.
Kaiser University's flagship campus. The 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 26 national championships, including back-to-back-to-back lacrosse titles, and they just won their first ever national championship for men's tennis. Visit kuseahawks.com for the latest on the championship flagship campus of Kaiser University.
ESPN West Palm is on the move. Brought to you by Safebound Moving and Storage, the most trusted moving company in Florida. You're safe with Safebound.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
A resort destination beyond compare, yet conveniently close to home. The Breakers Palm Beach offers everything you desire with the service you deserve in a breathtaking oceanfront setting. Immerse yourself in unparalleled seaside glamour and enjoy all the Breakers has to offer as you create lasting memories with those who matter most. The best part, you don't have to travel far to feel worlds away. Visit thebreakers.com or call 1-800-BREAKERS today.
Every great performance starts with a plan. Your game plan for greatness begins at Men's Only Medical. Dr. Al is redefining men's health with concierge care and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. From anti-aging and weight management to cardiovascular health, skin, and hair, they've got you covered. Expect personalized care and advanced technology to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Visit mensonlymedical.com. Men's Only Medical, setting a new standard for men's health.
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Game day in Fort Lauderdale tonight. Our Inter Miami Herons trying to get back on track against those Seattle Sounders. It's going to be a 7:30 kickoff. And for those of you who know the MLS, more like 7:40. More like a 7:40 kickoff, but we are going to have coverage all the way up until we get the ball rolling in South Florida. Inter Miami returns home for the first time since that Orlando City bout. The Inter Miami last home game in Fort Lauderdale was August 27th, believe it or not. You had the international break for what seemed like an eon, right? But no, you had the international break for 2 weeks after the League's Cup final on August 31st. And the first game post the international break was this past Saturday, where Inter Miami were losers against Charlotte 3-0, where Edon Tokolamadi had a hat trick for the crown. But it is now time to check out and see who's injured, who's not injured, who might be in the starting lineups tonight. It's time to do the injury report presented by our great friends at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
Now it's time for the Inter Miami Injury Report, presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath.
And now a fight for it, won right back by Inter Miami.
Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath, representing injured people and their families for more than 35 years. Visit foryourrights.com.
It is foryourrights.com, folks. Visit our good friends at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath at foryourrights.com. They've been serving injured people and their families here in South Florida for over 35 years. Well, the usual suspects on Inter Miami's injury report. And folks, I actually do have starting lineups for you. Lineups came out early for me on my Font Mob. But let's first check in on that injury report, as I've mentioned, presented by Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Luis Suarez serving his second game, his second suspension, his second game for a suspension. He's suspended 3 games. Gosh, Mike, spit it out. He's been suspended for 3 games. This is number 2 of the 3 games. Suarez is going to have to serve 1 more game after this, and that is going to come against DC United at home. But Suarez suspended, not in the lineup. Toto Aviles picked up 2 yellow cards, which equals a red. Last game against Charlotte, so he is suspended for tonight's game. Alan Abando still out with injury. Hamstring, expected back late September. As I'm looking at my watch, it is almost late September, but Alan Abando still dealing with that hamstring injury. Baltasar Rodriguez, hamstring, mid-October. Davi Ruiz, hamstring, mid-October. Fafa Pico, hip, mid-October. And then, folks, the one that is just an absolute killer, the one that, dare I say, can't happen. With Fafa being out, with Luis Suarez being out, with Baltasar Rodriguez being out, with Alan Abando being out, the always reliable Talasco Segovia is now on the injury report with an ankle injury, and he is not expected back till mid-October. Folks, that is a big loss. Mid-October puts you in the final MLS game of the season for Inter Miami, which is going to be against Nashville. You hope that you have the hope now, from looking at the injury report presented by our great friends at Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Visit foryourrights.com. The plan for Segovia now is to get as healthy as possible and try to make the start of the playoffs. Knock on wood. And all right, I'm not going to doomsday. I was going to say knock on wood, Inter Miami's in the playoffs. It would truly have to be DEFCON 5, DEFCON 10 in order for that to happen. But listen, these injuries don't help. And Talasco Segovia, I think, has been the signing of the year for Coach Mascherano. I think Mascherano would argue Falcone at times. I think even Allende. Gosh, Allende has not been the best as of late. But we cannot forget what he did in CONCACAF Champions Cup, Leagues Cup, and early on in the MLS season. I mean, Allende has put together a pretty decent season. But, man, dating back to the start of the Leagues Cup, you have not gotten a lot from Allende. It's a big loss, guys. Talasco Segovia is going to be a big loss. He's not expected back until mid-October. Now, Seattle, they have a pretty big injury report as well. João Paulo, Paul Ario, Pedro de la Vega. And by the way, the de la Vega, one of the heroes of Leagues Cup, Remember, Seattle beat our Inter Miami Herons to get that piece of silverware Leagues Cup. But Pedro de la Vega was brilliant in it, and he is not expected back till late October. He has a knee injury. It's a big loss for Seattle. I put it Telasco Segovia-esque kind of injury for them. Ryan Kent and then Stuart Russell Hawkins. That's what the injury report for Seattle is looking like tonight. Your starting 11 for Inter Miami coming up tonight. Oscar Ustari starting between the posts and goal. Javier Mascherano going with a 4-3-3 tonight. Noah Allen at left back. Maxi Falcone left center back. Gonzalo Luan right center back. Ian Frey at right back. Yannick Bright left center mid. Sergio Busquets center mid. Rodrigo de Paul right center mid. What I'm expecting, Bright box to box. Busquets holding directly in the midfield. And Rodrigo de Paul kind of going box to box too and being involved in the attack on the right side. The three players up top, believe it or not, Jordi Alba is going to play left wing tonight. And dare I say, he kind of has to. The only players available off the bench for Coach Mascherano tonight, Marcelo Weigand, Santiago Morales, David Pinter, who they signed from the MLS Next, and then Matteo Silvetti, a new signing. Silvetti is a 19-year-old. He played for Liga Profesional in Apertura, and he is a right winger. I expect to see him tonight as well. But he played for the Newell's Old Boys. He scored 6 goals in 37 matches for the Old Boys. And that league is for the Argentinian League, the same league, I believe. I want to make sure I'm right on this. Matteo Silvetti and Old Boys, the same league where Baltasar Rodriguez came from in Racing. So, very thin bench for Coach Mascherano tonight. And I think it speaks volumes to have Jordi Alba playing left wing because Fafa Pico, usual left winger, injured. Baltasar Rodriguez can play winger, injured. Telasco Segovia is a winger, injured. Luis Suarez, striker, injured. Alan Abando, striker, injured. I mean, it's usually Allende off the right, Messi off the right, Suarez up top, and then you have your pick of the litter off the bench in Pico. We've seen Segovia start in the midfield before. But, man, this is, with Alba starting off the left. Slim pickings. Now, on the flip side, Seattle is going with their patent 4-2-3-1. They're going to have Frey in goal. Left back, Tolo. Left center back, Gomez. Right center back, Kim. And right back is going to be Rienzi. The two DMs, defensive midfielders, is going to be Roldan and Vargas. And I want to quickly stop at Roldan. Christian Roldan got the start for Coach Pochettino and the United States men's national team in their win against Japan 2-0. It was an international friendly, but Christian Roldan, who was a hero of the League's Cup against our Inter Miami Herons, he had a goal and he had an assist and a goal in the game. So Roldan coming in hotter than a blowtorch. Your right winger for Seattle tonight is Paul Rockroth. Center attacking mid is going to be Jesus Ferrara, who's gotten a lot of caps for the United States men's national team over the last couple of years. And then your left winger getting the start is Georgie Minonangu. And then up top is Ozaze de Rosario, who actually got the start in the League's Cup final as well. So Rothrock, de Rosario, Ferrara, Roldan. And that is it. Those are the players who got the start. Vargas as well. Georgie on the left wing came off the bench. But a new back line for Seattle comparatively to the Cup game and a new goalkeeper. But Roldan, Vargas, Rothrock, Ferrara, and De Rosario, all players that played in that League's Cup final. That is your injury report presented by Lytle Ryder Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath. Visit foryourrights.com. It's foryourrights.com. Lytle Ryder Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath have been serving injured people and their families for 35 years. Visit foryourrights.com. Once again, Luis Suarez, Toto Aviles, unavailable for suspension. Alan Obando, hamstring, late September. Baltasar Rodriguez, hamstring, mid-October. Davi Ruiz, hamstring, mid-October. Fafa Pico, hip, mid-October. Telasco Segovia, newly injured. Telasco Segovia, ankle, mid-October. Big loss in Segovia with all the other injuries for Inter Miami certainly coming up tonight. Let's take our final time out of the program. When we come back, we'll go around the MLS presented by our great friends at Audi. You're listening to Pink Smoke on ESPN 106.3.
Elevate your drive with the new 2026 Range Rover Velar P250S, where sleek design meets powerful performance. Lease it today for just $749 a month for 36 months, with $6,995 due at signing. This is your chance to command the road in signature Range Rover style. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and make sophistication yours. Land Rover, above and beyond.
Hey, it's Theo Dorsey. My favorite time of year is here, football season. And if you're a fan of football, you need to be playing Prize Picks. It's simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Will Saquon Barkley have more or less than 1 rushing touchdown? Will Joe Burrow throw more or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns? If your picks are right, you can cash in. Prize Picks also puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast and safe and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account all football season. We make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Download the app today and use code DOD to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DOD to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Hey guys, Mike Rizzo here. I know you're moving soon. Don't stress it. Call Good Greek for your total relocation solution. From packing and storage to local and long-distance moves, Spiro and his team at Good Greek Moving and Storage has you covered from start to finish. Trusted by families, businesses, and teams like the Heat and the Hurricanes for over 2 decades. Make your next move simple, safe, and stress-free.
Good Greek Moving and Storage. Your superhero movers.
A bicycle kick is a risky move, and risky can be exciting for soccer, but not for your money. PNC Bank believes boring is better. It's the smart and steady way to manage your finances and save the excitement for all you want to do in life. See how at pnc.com/brilliantlyboring. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865 and proud to sponsor Inter Miami CF radio broadcasts. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
Hey, it's Tina. Okay, let's be real. When you need tires or a battery, you want someone you can actually trust, right? That's why I go to St. Lucie Battery and Tire. They've been keeping South Florida moving for over 50 years, and they're still family-owned. They've got all the big tire brands, plus batteries for pretty much everything. Their best price out the door guarantee means you know you're getting the best deal. So next time your car needs something, don't stress. Just go to St. Lucie Battery and Tire, slbt.com. Trust me, they've got you covered.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Every great performance starts with a plan. Your game plan for greatness begins at Men's Only Medical. Dr. Al is redefining men's health with concierge care and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. From anti-aging and weight management to cardiovascular health, skin, and hair, they've got you covered. Expect personalized care and advanced technology to help you look, feel, and perform your best. Visit mensonlymedical.com. Men's Only Medical, setting a new standard for men's health.
A resort destination beyond compare, yet conveniently close to home. The Breakers Palm Beach offers everything you desire with the service you deserve in a breathtaking Immerse yourself in unparalleled seaside glamour and enjoy all the Breakers has to offer as you create lasting memories with those who matter most. The best part, you don't have to travel far to feel worlds away. Visit thebreakers.com or call 1-800-BREAKERS today.
This is Pink Smoke, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Here's Mike Rizzo.
Our final segment of Pink Smoke. We're going to go around the MLS presented by our great friends at Audi, but we do have a game tonight. So I'm going to be taking a 5-minute break here within the next 4 minutes. But coming up at 7 o'clock, we got our Inter Miami Radio Network starting up. I will have the pregame from 7 to about 7:35. And then Ken LaVicka will be on the call, Inter Miami and Seattle. And I have starting lineups. The starting lineup for Inter Miami tonight will be a 4-3-3. Oscar Ustari, Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, Gonzalo Luan, and Ian Frey is the back line. The midfield, Yannick Bright, Sergio Busquets, and Rodrigo de Paul. Your attackers, left wing, Jordi Alba. Striker, Lionel Messi. Right wing, Tadio Allende. So that is the starting 11 for the Herons tonight. Very slim on the bench. You have Marcelo Weigand, Ryan Saylor, Santiago Morales, Daniel Pinter, and Matteo Silvetti. Pinter and Silvetti, new signings. And then an injury report that looks like the first day of freshman year. Luis Suarez, Toto Avila, Sal Nabando, Baltasar Rodriguez, Davi Ruiz, Fafa Pico, and Telasco Segovia. Segovia, the newest one of the bunch. But it is time to go around the MLS presented by our great friends at Audi.
Now it's time to go around the MLS, presented by your local South Florida Audi dealerships. Test drive the new Q6 e-tron today at your local South Florida Audi dealer, or visit AudiOffers.com to learn more.
That is AudiOffers.com to learn more. Test drive the brand new Q6 e-tron today at your local South Florida Audi dealer. AudiUSA.com to learn more. Excuse me, folks. AudiUSA.com. Not Audi Offers. AudiUSA.com to learn more. Test drive the new Q6 e-tron. Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Charlotte, and Nashville. Those are the top four. Those are the top four teams if the season were to end right now that would get home field. After that, the Columbus Crew, Orlando City, NYCFC, and our Inter Miami Herons checking in at 8. 9 teams get in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Inter Miami sitting at 8. Chicago Fire sitting at 9. Good news for Inter Miami. They have 4 games to make up to catch up to the top 4 in Nashville, Charlotte, Cincinnati, and the Union. Best advice for Inter Miami right now, get as healthy as possible. Get as healthy as possible and try to figure this thing out as you go and try to get top 4. Jordi Alba's playing left wing tonight. I think that speaks to how injured Inter Miami is right now, how battered they are with suspensions with Toto Aviles and Luis Suarez serving suspensions. Get healthy, get right, and get home field for the first round. Let's flip it on over to the Western Conference. You got San Diego FC, Minnesota United, Vancouver, and Seattle. That's your top 4. San Diego, Minnesota, Vancouver, and Seattle. And then 5 through 9, Los Angeles, LAFC, Portland, Austin, Colorado, and San Jose. Those are the teams right now that are in the playoff race. I want to mention, too, Real Salt Lake and FC Dallas. Both of those teams on the outside looking in, they have 34 points, while the San Jose Earthquakes are currently in that last spot at 9 with 35. So that seems like a battle that is going to be happening throughout the rest of the regular season. That is Real Salt Lake, FC Dallas, and San Jose. And that was around the MLS presented by our great friends at Audi. But coming up next, we are going to have the Inter Miami pregame show. I'm going to be live for another 40 minutes coming up here on your Inter Miami Radio Network. We're going to continue to break down the matchup of our Inter Miami Herons and Seattle. I got notes for Seattle. I got notes for Inter Miami. We'll have a little fun, too. I have the ratings, the highest ratings for MLS players in the upcoming game, EAFC 26. I'm a big, big believer in the football video game that I've been buying for the better half of 25 years. It used to be called FIFA. Now it is called EAFC. But I have the rankings, the highest rankings within the MLS. We'll go team by team, have a little fun. on your Inter Miami radio network, and a couple of Inter Miami Herons in the top 3 as well on that list. That is all up next. We'll break down Seattle. We'll break down our Inter Miami Herons, and I'll give you those starting lineups again. Lineups are out. 4-3-3 for Inter Miami. Lionel Messi in the lineup playing striker, and the bench is thin with all the injuries. But I'll talk to you here more in a second. This has been Pink Smoke on ESPN 106.3. Coming up next is the Inter Miami pregame show. Sometimes friends have to go away, but a part of them stays with you forever. Remember that in this life. So Inter Miami pregame show leading you all the way into kickoff. It's going to be a 7:38, 7:39 kickoff in South Florida coming up tonight. Going to be a dark and dreary South Florida. I'm knocking on wood, hoping the rain holds up. Hoping the lightning storms hold up, something we've been dealing with here in South Florida for a little bit. But Inter Miami and Seattle, a battle of the League's Cup rematch coming up tonight on your Inter Miami radio network.